Hello, everyone. Waiting for this to see if it picks up the volume. And we'll go ahead and get started. We'll give everyone a couple of seconds.
I spent much of...
So seems like we have volume there. And let me make sure, can you all hear me? Let me know if you can hear me. Here, let me see if I can hear myself. Yep. We can hear the sounds. Okay, lovely. Thank you for being here. I am so happy to be here. I am Aurora, in case you don't know who I am, and I am a quantum alchemist, and I am the founder of Aura, Angelic Universal Regression Alchemy, as well as I am an Akashic reader, a clear channel, and I channel the Raw Collective. Well, many of the beings that I channel forth from are from the Raw Collective. And I am here just about every Friday, typically every Friday, 1 p.m. Central Time. I am happy to be here. I love the ones as well where I'm able just to speak and I don't have to go in trance and clear channel, as I find that we're able to touch base more so than when I go into channel. But yes, I love either way because they telepathically can talk to me without me having to go into a channel. They can basically speak to me telepathically. And in case you are new to our channel, I am a big firm teacher through current life and past lives of working with your own source, love, light, infinite energy from your source energy here, from your infinite of your heart energy, and how to use it in force fields around you, and how to help yourself be able to be okay, to be balanced and anchored into this density of the third dimensional, fourth dimensional, which can be very heavy for us. So working with that, as well as when you work with this beautiful love light that is yours from your source energy that is infinite, it helps you really get more clear information, not be as cloudy, be more in more of the inner knowing, and these type of frequencies that are absolutely gorgeous. So if you guys don't have any, if you have any questions, feel free to add them here and I would love to address them along the way. We're going to be covering a couple different things today. As far as galactic and energy updates, last week was phenomenal. We had a channel where we channeled Archangel Zadkiel. When you look up about him, you can't really find too much about him. So he was very excited to share his essence and some of the rose and some of his messages forth from him. So what you can find me on risingphoenixaurora.com, and I also teach alchemy classes under Patreon, and you can find me as well under Patreon under Rising Phoenix Aurora. And through my risingphoenixaurora.com, you can book for sessions, Akashic readings, energy healings, alchemy, the hypnosis, aura hypnosis sessions, as well as raw sessions, which are Reiki, angelic alchemy sessions. And we'll be giving you updates as far as typically what they'll do is within the month, they'll give me bits and pieces that they would like for me to address for this channeling. Typically, it is on the second week of every month on Friday. But for whatever reason, we switched it around this time around. It is on the third Friday of this month. So yes, thank you all for being here. It is lovely to have you all. All right. So we will be starting off with some information that Zadkiel wanted to add, that he felt that he wanted just to give a little more adding on top of his channel. So he asked me to go a little more detailed on his channel last week. And then from there, we'll go into energy and a galactic update that we have, a beautiful one for you all. Okay. So he talked about, he wanted to address specifically, if you watch his channel, you're going to be like, wow, if you haven't watched it yet, it was a strong one that was full of awareness, empowerment, and some of the things that we had yet touch base. So he really stepped forth and spoke of some of these strong things that are very awakening within our hearts awakening within our souls. And something he talked about was how the dark energies, you can say, that have been hold of this earth and the AI technology, right? We hear about this AI technology. It's in the chemtrails. It's in sometimes it's in the some of the shots that they give us, you know, the flu shots or other forms. It is in many types of ways. It could be through intakes of either food or water that we are intaking this. So, and also other things where we talk about things like, for example, like the I am source love light and shielding, or surrounding yourself with force fields, whatever name you want to give it. So he wanted to talk about how that has been talked about as it being fear-based, and specifically how that was brought up actually from the Orion group, the reptilians, the negative aliens that are in charge right now. Well, that were in charge. And then, you know, us, as we awaken and we start remembering, like, wait a minute, you know, and we start remembering our souls, regaining that remembrance once more, our memories. We are remembering that that is not fear-based. And a lot of you, I remember when I first started coming out, I was looked upon as, it was hard for me to make some of these videos for you all where I was teaching you all how to use force fields from your own source energy, how to, you know, cut negative cords that were holding you heavy and holding you stuck, how to remove energies within you that whether they were dark energies, whether they are entities. So I was placed in a type of spot by others or even spiritual workers themselves saying that I was fear-based, when in actuality, I was just communicating what the archangels, the angels, 111, spread love to the earth. Done the 13th hour. So I was, yeah, in the sense, segregated, separated. And just like, it's similar, right? This is how it's been throughout our history. We've been taught programming, things that hold us heavy, things that teach us not to become empowered and sovereign within our own energies. So there was a lot even of that going on within the spiritual community towards the teachings that the angels were trying to teach and awaken you. So this is some of the things he talked about, how we come forth every cycle when we're trying to help you ascend and shift into the 5D and the next time that we're supposed to, you know, evolve. And we are not quite listened. So he was talking about fear-based. What is fear-based? What fear-based has taught you is that you feel fear from it, whatever it is. And these are strong things that we talk about that help you awaken your awareness and take your sovereignty back. So at times, some of those energies, some of those things that they talk about might make you feel a little fearful, but it is meant to make you feel perhaps that fear and then have awareness of it, and then evolve and transform, and to transcend, and to transmute it, and to heal it, to cleanse it with the water, to transmute it with the fire, to rebirth from within those energies. That's what it's meant to do, not call it, oh, that's fear-based, now I'm going to run away from it. What is that doing for you? It is making you run away from it, and it's making you not face it. Face these energies that you have been stuck with cycle after incarnation after cycle of incarnation, stuck of these things that cause fear to you. There is nothing in life to fear but fear itself. Standing forth in that fear and saying, you know what, I've had enough of you, fear. I will not fear you anymore. I will not think that, for example, I will not put this in a place of fear-based. Now, there's two different parts of it, right? There is a fear-based where it's bringing forth the fear that you hold within you that you're supposed to transform from. And then there is things like that are being brought out into society, into the information that's being channeled through other forms, through as an individual or even as a collective of light workers, that is trying to place you in a fear base so that you can stay stuck there. So then trying to look at it, when you look upon awareness and communication, is the information that's being shared to you through an awareness so that you can empower yourself and live from it, or is it a form of keep you in a dark cloud and fearful of yourself and like panicking and thinking that, oh my goodness? So that's what we're going to talk about. I believe people are talking about the 3 days of darkness. Now, when I was shown I was told that that is specifically fear-based. That is a form of making people panic once more. So first of all, there's the event that was supposed to happen last March in 2018. And then again, some waves coming forth this March 2019. And it keeps people in a bit of a paranoia, thinking that, okay, how much time do I have left? Am I going to be able to do this in this time? What do I have to prepare? And it keeps people in fear base, in a fear type of mentality. And with that, what it does, it lowers their frequency and it keeps them in the lower densities of these energies. Now, after I finish talking about this, you can feel free to ask me any question on this, and then we'll move on. So this is the way I like to teach. I like to dialogue with you all, and that's why I really love this type of where I'm conscious and I'm able to speak to you in this manner. So that is what I was told in regards to the 3 days of darkness, to again not feed any fear into it. See it as perhaps what is a way that we could look upon it. Perhaps we might feel, say, 3 days of darkness. Are we going to bottle up into a ball and think about all of the bad things that could happen? Or are we going to think of what beauties we can transform from these 3 days of darkness? Though saying what they're saying, that it's not going to happen. Like, everything's not going to go dark for 3 days. So it's like a metaphor of sorts, where it will be a time frame where you can start in what they're saying in the June. There's going to be some beautiful information, some beautiful energies coming forth, and we'll talk about it even more so then. But yes, it's going to be a time where you want to start preparing yourself, where what happens right now is that we are stuck, right? We were stuck for such a long time in this non-organic matrix, in the AI type of controlled matrix. And with that, what happened was that we were stuck in that matrix and we were stuck within the density of it, and we were stuck within our own darkness and our own hell created that we were creating within ourselves. And then we weren't learning how to shift from it. So if you could think about it, is okay, there's much beauty within the dark. We can see the beautiful stars. We can create from our energies from within the darkness. And there is much beauty that can be discovered from the darker aspects of us. And I speak about the darker aspects of us, that are not the ones that are harmful to others, the ones that are where we find things that we have forgotten, that are long lost within our own darkness, the fierceness that we can find within our own darkness, when we need to be strong and draw forth from our strength and draw forth from the beauties of the shadow that can be, drawing forth from that and being strong for the divine feminine is very much rising from the dark shadow, right? For too long, we've been stuck in the shadow. So we're rising from our own shadows. And I speak of that within the masculine as well. You all have the divine feminine as well. So what are ways that you can transform? And what are ways that you can think about, that you could start setting up for yourself with a beautiful, powerful intent during this time frame, of where you can transform that darkness into beautiful creational energy for you without harming none, and transforming it into something that is infinite and just beautiful for yourself, for your loved ones, for your home, And what are some of those things that have held you heavy for not this life, not only this life, but other past lives? And now how can you face them and heal them and transform them with that fire that's also found within the darkness and helps you rebirth like a beautiful phoenix, the cycle of creation. For when we remember to dance with the flame, go with the rhythm of the flame, is when we remember that life is a beautiful cycle like that phoenix, the rebirth of it. And you go and you learn to be in the surrender and the dance and the rhythm of the flame is when you start learning how to rebirth every minute, every night that you go to bed. You rebirth when you awaken as a new day. Every hour that even comes forth, every minute that comes forth is a renewal of energy. So viewing it like that, excuse me. Yes. I'll make sure I covered that before I move on. And if you have any questions on it, feel free to type them now. Okay. All right. So let me see what questions you all have here that I can touch base. Hello, everyone. Thank you. Thank you again for being here. Great honor and love and respect for you all, and my infinite love to you all as always. Okay. Okay. Someone said, I think they're talking about Rochelle was talking about Zadkiel, how he was the angel in Genesis 22 that stopped Abraham. Oh yes, he is powerful, which within his balance and righteousness, but righteousness in a not a way of judgment. And then also said he spoke about twin flames. Recently heard that they changed the twin flame experiment, providing all of us to help meet companion. Yes, they very much are changing it, where at first we thought, oh, maybe I won't have a twin flame this life. I don't think it's destined for me. But now as we are creating and we're remembering that we're creator beings, now we're seeing that we can actually manifest if we are ready, if we can manifest that with our higher self and our guides and our angels. Can we manifest a twin flame union here? Because when we heal the twin flames, it very much shifts the past life of pain and trauma of twin flames and some of the things that occurred with connections of them and being the energies that were trying to stop these type of twin flame unions. Yes. Let's see if I see any other questions that we want to touch base. And then Sam 789 says, if we could touch base on any churches or any organized religions targets for negative entities, perhaps because there are so many spiritually open individuals there. Actually, I was just talking to a reading right before this channeling, and we were talking about the religion, and she was sharing me her experience and how when she was there, she was feeling like these small beings that are basically focus upon people's agitations and negative energies within them to try to agitate them, make them aggravated, annoyed. And then from there, then they come in and they suck upon their energy through a vacuum of sorts. So this is something that I very much sense as well when you are in a church. Now, of course, you can set up those force fields so that you could be okay. If you do want to help some of these religions and churches, you can go in there and still use your force fields and still spread love light without, say, your energy being sucked upon setting that intent there. But yes, these are ways where within religion and they're taught so much programming that is very easy for energies and entities to come forth into that establishment, that church, and drain upon their energies and the programming, that they're being kept dense in being judgmental. Though we are seeing a shift, though, in some of these religions that have caused much bloodshed and much pain and much segregation and control. So we are seeing a shift, though. So ways that you can do is just sending love light to some of these churches that you pass by, perhaps calling upon your soul families, your angels, and sending them, can you help those people in there and help them start healing and seeing some of these teachings that they're teaching, and asking questions and wondering, is this really truly right in my heart? Does that feel really right? So yes, they are targeted, and they are, as Jesus talked about that in the past channel. So if you want to watch that one, he talks about it more in detail. Okay. All right. Tracy says, how can we take our sovereignty back? So first, it starts off with taking your light back. Because what happens is that during your life in this time, your energy has been drained upon. Your flame here in your heart, it has been drained upon from your family, from your parents, from your programming of the schooling, from the church, the religion, from people just overall judging upon you, keeping you heavy and holding you stuck in a cage. And then also it has been drained upon from energies that are dense within this existence, like entities, reptilians, negative aliens that have held this paradigm, this matrix system heavy. And little by little, it has been drained upon. And the most beautiful way that you could start working on and bringing back your sovereignty is by regaining your flame and regrowing your flame within your heart. And how we teach how to make energy bubbles, and then placing your hands over your heart and feeling that flame regaining its light energy once more, regaining it and growing stronger and brighter and stronger, and working with colors within it. I particularly love to use gold flames because right now we're in that golden era of the phoenix, of the fire, of the transmutation, and growing it and growing it. So that's a beautiful way to take your sovereignty back, because what happens is that since you're regaining your light back once more, it's making you stronger and thicker in a type of way where, say you have a pillar of light within your chakras. So it's making it stronger and thicker and less infringed upon as easily. And remember, how we teach from the heart is how we do not allow some of that infringement upon it. Okay. Let's see what else here. And there is a session that I am actually editing right now that you will want to watch. It's going to be titled, trying to figure out the exact title for it, but it's going to be titled, I have it written. Oh, where I wrote it here. Through the deathly sands into the promised land. So we came forth upon a man who was helping his people walk through this deathly sands into the promised land. And there is a part where this she's divine feminine though, but she's a man in that life. And she goes to this place where people and their light source, their flames, their energies are very dim. So you'll definitely want to watch that, because they talk about different ways that this can happen, and this is a realm, even in a higher realm. I can't remember what dimension it was that she said, but the higher self did tell us, but it was like in the 6th dimension or higher, But watch the video, and it is really interesting. There's a twist to it and what happens and why it is that their light is being so dim, and then what happens to them when their light becomes so dim that something happens to them. So I'm going to leave it there, and you guys watch it this weekend. It will be the next one up, maybe very soon. Okay. Thank you. Great question. And then someone said, Barbara said she doesn't feel, the 3 days of darkness does not sound scary at all to me. Yeah, it's not. It really isn't. It is a way to transform. What can we rebirth from those type of energies of rising from the darkness? Look upon it like that, and don't let anything hold you heavy and fearful and worry that, I need to do this before that. What am I going to do? Don't let that. Instead, live in a form of surrender. Like we talk about, we've talked about it in past channels, how we are a beautiful way to look upon it is that we are this beautiful leaf, and then there's a big body of water, higher self-consciousness, and this river, this leaf is you, and you're just allowing for the higher self-consciousness, the river, to take you in whichever direction you're meant to go, left or right or forward, and just deep allowance and surrender. So that's how you want to live when you feel something is causing fear within you. You want to feel that fear and figure out why it's causing you fear, and then transmute it and heal it and transform from it. Don't let it control you and keep you in that density. Okay. Someone, Barbara said, we do 6 months of winter, right? We do 6 months of winter with dark, it's okay. Remember that the sun is there regardless, whether it is dark, whether there is clouds hiding that sun, it is all around us. There's a beautiful video I have on how to charge with the sun's energy. And then I have an aura that one of my assistants did on me, where we're talking about the Divine Mother is speaking through me, and she's speaking about she's like, hold up, let's talk about, well, she didn't say it like that, but in my mind she was saying it like that. But when I spoke through me, I was like, let's say it calmly. Let's speak about what the sun source energy is. So yes, what is it? So look at like that. It's always all around us, whether it is dark or not. Let me see. Trying to hurry here as I read as fast as I can. Yes, it's a ascension process, right? In a sense, where it is, Cassio said, the 3 days of darkness. It is an ascension process of what can we now, as we mentioned, release, let go, that's holding us heavy. Absolutely, because remember, if we're too dense, then we can't enter into that 51 percentile from the Raw Collective talks about, of rising above service to others in 51 percentile. So learning to start transforming those densities so that we could be at that percentage. And all that means really is the 51 percentile. It's just that basically you're just by that 1% more so in service to others versus yourself, is what that means. Oh, beautiful. Sam says, roots grow in the dark. They do, like a womb. Yes, Steve says, birth before the birth. Isn't that lovely? And then we do have that guided meditation that the Divine Mother and the collective consciousness of angels brought forth, where we're speaking of the Divine Mother's womb into the cave of creation. It's beautiful. That's a beautiful way to look at it. What if you imagined while you are while everyone might be in fear, what if you imagine yourself in the Divine Mother's womb? In the womb, which coincidentally, you know how happens that everything is not a coincidence, of course. Everything, synchronicity, how it falls in line. That session that I just spoke about that will be coming out soon, the client was a somnambulist, so it was really beautiful. And you will see how she gets a bit confused, because what happens is when the client is a somnambulist, their ego, the human consciousness, kind of it's no longer there. So now, only so if she goes to a time and space, say when she was in the sand leading her people as the man, then she's experiencing that being there completely, like she is the full embodiment of that being. And then when her higher self or the angels speak through her, only they are speaking through her. So she goes through this beautiful, and we have yet to see any this detail of it. She goes to a womb, and it is a form of a energy resource. And this is a way, so watch that, so you can place yourself in this beautiful type of womb that she talks about it. And she talks about it so detailedly and beautifully through that, with no human consciousness or ego involved. So it's a really good guidance for you to use when it comes to be. Thank you. You are so beautiful. I am here because of your questions, and we want to question, right? We always teach question more. Beautiful comments, guys. Beautiful interaction here. Let's see. Rochelle, Zadkiel, Angel of Mercy, yes. And forgiveness. Steve says, is it possible to have a twin flame within an internal twin flame of sorts? Yeah, absolutely. I believe I understand what you mean by that. Like the twin flame is within you. Yes. Yes, yes. You can tap into that at any point, anytime you meditate, and anytime you try to connect to that infinite twin flame union. Oh, yay. I see my, I think Lily's here. Hello, Lily. Love you. Yes, she's in there with you all. Let's see what other questions you guys have. Steve says he found himself doing energy work in churches, bouncing and clearing and healing other sacred places. Oh, yes. Thank you. Thank you. That is such a grand service. When we talk about the church, for example, how Jesus was talking about it, he wasn't talking about it like, stay away from it. He was talking about it in a transforming, healing manner where if you're brave enough, go for it. Go and help and shift these people who are your brothers and sisters who are stuck in this programming. Definitely. And there's much love comes forth from, such power and strength comes forth from a person who can do that. That is so beautiful. It takes a strong person to do that, to go into a place where perhaps you're not accepted, and you are viewed upon perhaps as being a witch or practicing black magic, when you're practicing love. It takes a great person to face that. You're facing your fears there as well, right? That could look as another way to face 3 days of darkness. You're viewing it upon it, and you're helping them. Okay. Yes, definitely. Don't turn your backs from them, Sam. Beautiful. Lily's reading the book of Nostradamus. I have yet to read it. But, he channels a lot through me. So, yes, from Dolores Cannon. Shirsti says, I have noticed in my work a lot of babies are falling sick and terrified during nighttime. Does it have to do anything with the energy coming or negative entity scaring them? Yes. Well, since I was a baby, I was scared. And I'll share, I think this would be a good time for me to share a little bit of my story with you all. Though I share much, but since we're going to talk about this, we talked about in a recent channel, right? Let me think. We talked about how since I was a child, what happened is that I came forth as an infant, as a baby, and I'll let you. I don't know, Lily, if you remember that. Maybe you could write it in the comments. I'm trying to remember what channel that was. It might have been the recent live channel before this, where I talked about that. So I don't want to go over the story. That way we could use, instead of transform, go into the other story. But yes, entities, since I was a child, basically were draining upon my energy. And even then, now that I look back, I didn't really start pinning things together till up until recently, till the maybe the last 10 years. And even this year, I will look back and I'll be like, oh, that's why that happened. Oh, that is why. So different ways that we could look back at our past where we're not, living in it to like in an imbalanced manner, but we're looking in a way where we're finding things that held us heavy at those times, and now we're figuring them out and listening to our inner knowing in our hearts and discovering why it was that we went through these different phases. So through that, basically shortly, what happened is that I had telekinesis. I was turning on the electricity and the blenders and so on, moving dishes around when I was sleeping in my crib, which was across from the kitchen, and my parents were they were led to believe that it was ghosts. So that way they wouldn't, freak out. Can you imagine in those times? And then from there, basically throughout life, I was not only targeted by entities and energies, but I was also targeted within entities of people. And as I kept growing up, and then I remember, if I've spoken about this, I had a mirror. A lot of you will carry mirrors, or even would just be healers, whether you're using whatever element it is, whether it's water, whether it's fire, whether it's earth, whether it's wind. You are a healer, and you are here with that element to help people. So with that, you will make people uncomfortable no matter what element you're using, if they have a lot of densities in them that you're trying to help them shift from. And then the pyramid, I had a reflective pyramid. So what happened is that a lot of people would treat me in a mean manner. And growing up, I was bullied. I was one of those, even though I was pretty, but because I was pretty, I was bullied by a group of women. And I had a really hard time because I could not relate to women then, because a lot of that programming was there where they were taught to gossip one another, to belittle one another, to talk behind each other's back, to be mean, and to judge one another. So that was tough growing up. And I'm sure a lot of you have went through as well, through bullying, not feeling like you belonged. And I was chased I remember one grade, I was chased just about every day after school by these women, and I had them in my face. Like, I remember one of them spit in my face, and it was just like crazy. It was really, and I remember, my little self, because I was like 95 pounds then. And I would not back down. I'd just stand there and I would stare them in their face, and whatever. You can say whatever you want from me. I know who I am. I barely even talked because I was so sensitive with my carrying the Phoenix energies, and I could sense and feel so many energies around me. Back then, I didn't realize I was like, I didn't understand it. What's wrong with me? But I just remember the sensations of closing myself up to the world. Yeah, and it was hard, but with that, it taught me to have compassion for others and to not treat others in the manner that I have been treated, and to treat others. I have had situations where I have had, for example, negative implants within me, entities within me. Though they didn't last too long because since I work so strongly with the angels, they help me very much so in helping remove them. And also with the phoenix energies that I carry, they can't last too long. But yeah, I would go to sleep, I would pass out just completely drained, and then I would ask as I'm falling asleep, just curiosity, what is wrong with me? And they would remove that density within me. And also there was a time where they placed a negative implant in me, and for a year and a half I had this thing, and I thought that there was something like, okay, what's wrong with me? And this is the way I will explain to you what a negative implant feels like. And it was blocking, basically, it was in a toe of mine, and it was blocking the grounding. So what was happening was that my phoenix fire was not able to expel as beautifully, as free-flowly as it typically was. Or overall, if you don't work with the phoenix fire, your element, right? So your element of cleansing and transmuting and healing wouldn't be able to spread as easily, and you would feel stuck. So this is how it feels, like you're stuck. You're at a wall and you cannot get past that. And this negative technology will hold you there. And you can't figure out, no matter how much you heal yourself, no matter how much you meditate, no matter how much you call upon aid, you cannot seem to get out of it until you actually recognize that it is an implant. Until you realize that. And then with that, then they helped me out, and then they helped me remove it once I figured it out that that's what it was. And I remember that feeling. And ever since I had that and I discovered it, I told myself that no matter what, whoever comes to me, I will help them, because I know what it's like to be in that density and stuck. I know what it's like to be in that fear, and no matter how hard you try to evolve from it, you cannot. You feel that you cannot. I know what that's like, and I don't, want anyone to feel that. So that is why when you watch me doing healings, when you watch me do classes, when you watch me do hypnosis, or you come to me for a raw Reiki, angelic alchemy healing, you will see that I will do my very best, and I will hold that space for you in the deepest love that you could probably find. That is why, because I know what it's like to have been in those places, and I want you to no longer have to live that for yourself. I love everyone infinitely. No matter how you come to me and you think that you're not beautiful, and you think that you have no hope and you can't come out from it, I see the beauties in you. I see what you can be, no matter what. I'm going to keep reading. Let's see what question I want to answer now. Steve mentioned, often many trapped souls waiting for the resurrection in churchyards too. Yeah. I was watching Thor. Was it Ragnarok? Ragnarok? I can never say it right. Well, that one. And his mother had passed away, and then I loved the beauty and how they honored her, and they put her on this boat and let her go through the water and the cleansing, right? And then they threw an arrow of fire onto her, and then she burned and transmuted and healed. So I love that. And versus, say, placing a body in the ground, though there's beauties to that, but in the negative programming I'm speaking of, is that now it's keeping that energy dense and grounded too much and stuck to the earth. Versus if you were to put that body in there in not a form of where they're staying stuck in the matrix and grounded to the earth, then you would perhaps, there's been things out there where you could be planted in a like in a, I don't know what's called, but like it's like a basket, and then there's like a tree growing from it. So yeah, be coming back to the land, not perhaps in a casket. What if you just naturally go back into the earth and set that intent, that beauty of becoming one with it and becoming life within it once more? So different ways that we could look on that, because there is souls, and that is a way that they can trap the souls in that negative religion. Yes. So instead of when you're passing by a cemetery, instead send within, though, a force field where you don't want to attract them to you. You want to stay invisible to them. Sending them that love and helping them shift and from being stuck in that ground or in this land overall. Beautiful questions, guys. It's bringing such beauty to our channeling, which I'm going to try to stop answering now, because actually there was some beautiful news I wanted to talk about. There is, speaking of the galactic energies, there is some beautiful happenings right now as we continue to take our sovereignty and our empowerment back. What's happening is that the densities are shifting, right? So with that, there was a recent galactic meeting that occurred in the inner earth. And the way that I can explain that is that it's in a higher dimension of the inner earth. So there was the elders from the Ra there, the seraphim, the angels that we speak from channels. They were there, and they were speaking to thousands, maybe millions, within the inner earth. And those were all the yous. So basically the yous who are here experiencing this experience here in the physical, and they were speaking to all of you. Within that, the Ra speaking to about where we're at and how much progress we're at, and we were very much in a sense of celebration. So thinking of that, not allowing for things that come forth, like, say, the 3 days of darkness, making you go in fear, instead of thinking of it like where we were at and where we are now. Think about that. That is a grand beauty, and how we've managed to go into our organic timelines now, if we are working hard, and if we are allowing for us to be in our organic timeline. But the majority of us are there, and we are shifting within these different dimensions. And the way it works is, Dolores wants to share, is when we're in the 5D, in the new earth, she says right now, is that basically what's happening is that you are experiencing, remember, because time doesn't exist, it's so we're experiencing all the us in all these different parallel times to one another. It's like linear, right? Linear. Time is all linear. And then, so we are here, and then we are here in the past, experiencing perhaps a traumatic life that is helping us grow for the now. And then we are experiencing the us in the future. But when we get above the third and fourth dimension, is we're looking down upon. So sometimes you might have dreams or meditations where you're looking down upon Earth, or where you're looking down upon yourself. And when you're looking down upon, it's because you're in the higher dimension. That's what that representation to those kind of dreams. When you're like in a higher tower, maybe a higher existence there, you're looking down at the you now. And it was such a beautiful galactic meeting that we had. And I wanted to share, Jesus was there. So beautiful. And he was in this beautiful form of a willow tree. And it's the best way we could explain. It's kind of like a group from Guardians of the Galaxy. So he was huge. It was hard for him to be in this room that they were in. So he had to like crawl down and like kind of like go into a ball, but still speak and be there. So a willow tree, the beauties of what? The tree of life that he represents there, Jesus for us, and the heart and the tree of life within the earth, and yeah, that was lovely. And to help you understand, so yes, you are here now in this 3D. Remember, it is an illusion. It is like similar to that movie Matrix, where we kind of go to sleep to be here. We go to sleep to be here. And when we leave, so when we actually go to sleep, we leave this, and now we're truly awakened with our higher self once more. And we don't have that human consciousness veil. Hope that all makes sense for you all. So then we have the us in the inner earth, working with the energies within the inner earth, working with the heart of Mother Earth, working with these energies there, and being conscious, and then working with the us here in the third and the fourth. Okay. So I just wanted to mention that. That was a beautiful update of as far as a galactic time frame that we've entered, that there is much beauty if we just keep holding space for ourselves in love, and holding space for the collective in love, and standing in the beauties that we are in our self-love. Let's see what else, if there was anything else I wanted to share about that. Yes. And it is a reminder to also, to celebrate life, to celebrate ourselves, to celebrate what's around us. But then also, though, being aware, not becoming gullible, where we're, we finding a balance between both, where we're still questioning and we're still aware that we are still releasing the negative hold, right? Very good. And then Zadkiel wanted to talk about how a lot of times people come to me, it's like, or even I, at the beginning of me trying to figure out what angels are and why do they speak to me so much, like Joan of Arc, right? Joan of Arc, the angels were speaking to her then. And trying to figure out, like, you'll find a lot of things that really are just completely, does not feel right of the angels. Like, oh, you want to work with the angels, but they're higher above you, and don't really call on them too much. I've read stuff like that online. It's like, what? Oh, the angels are part of this matrix system, and they're keeping you heavy and stuck in this matrix system. Watch out for them. It's like, oh, no. Zadkiel wanted to clarify that, is that they are the raw. You are the raw. We are the raw within this dimension, within this universe. And they are here to help you. So that's what they taught you, right? They taught you to fear the angels and not to believe in them. Or even there is people who are speaking out there, who are whistleblowers, light workers, who are saying that the Luciferian thing, that Lucifer and the angels there are part of some of these black magic. And no, actuality, you are worshiping the reptilians who are behind the black magic, not Lucifer himself. He has no part in that. He is part with the seraphim and the Elohim. So he brings you forth to the light. And I have a channeling on him if you want to watch that. But yes, there is much of that where everything has been twisted upon because they want you to basically fear the angels. They want you to run away from them, because they can help you shift your energies. They are the very first fractals of creation. So if you can imagine it, it's a very strong energy that you could be working to help yourself. So they don't want you to know that. They want you to think that it's the opposite, of course, to keep you dense and heavy. Okay. All right, so let's see what other questions I can answer here. We're coming up on our hour. Beautiful messages here. I love how I really love to like the chat that we have going on here, that everyone's, how we emanate love, honor, respect one another. I really love how you all come on this chat, and I want to thank you for that, and how you're respectful to one another. Every now and then there will be a planted person on there on purpose to astray from the channel, but overall you guys are also beautiful on there. Thank you for that, and holding that space. That is something that Dolores, the minute that she came forth to me, is like, she's like, there's too many spiritual groups, there's too many different types of groups that even where you're supposed to be open and speaking of yourself or speaking of what information you're getting, they're judging on each other. They're mean to each other. And let's create spaces where we could be sacred and we cannot judge no matter what the person is sharing. We cannot judge upon them. We send them love no matter what. So Max Cairo says, could you please offer an insight why I can never remember when my dreams when I waking up? I get fragments at most always charged with info. I get fragments at most always charged with info. The sleep is very spiky. Okay. So that aligns with what I had talked about a little bit ago, where remember how I talked about, the matrix and how we go. So what happens is that you're coming back into the dream realm, because how we talk about that and through different, like, Buddhism, different ascended masters, they've taught us that we have to release the 3D, right? We have to release the material. We need it though, but learning how to not let it be all your life. And it's part of the illusion of keeping you here. So what happens is that when we come back here into this, say, experiment, what we did up there when we left, we cannot know it here, because our mind could go like a bit crazy with some of the things that we're doing up there. And because what happens is that we're so dense here. So it's a way of a protection. So I think we are blessed if we are able to remember parts of our dreams. I think that's a blessing in itself. Or even if at times we might not remember them, because some of the things that we would remember, they would really torment us here. And they would confuse us further. And that is not the goal. The goal through Dreamtime is to give you messages where you are remembering yourself little by little within your own discipline of your own work and how hard you're working on it. They will give you pieces and pieces of their messages from your soul. The dreams are. Yes. So that is why, because you are becoming your higher self basically when you're up there. And now you're coming back, and now you have that human consciousness veil around you that cannot remember everything as the higher self. It just can't be possible in this 3/4 dimension. It'd be too heavy on your heart. And what happens is that, remember, you have that density within you of the ego that is a part of you, lovingly part of you. And it can make perhaps that side even heavier. So that's not what we're trying to do then. Okay. Let's see. And then Daisy's asking, should it be red flag when the client refuses to disclose? So I think overall, like if a client or you are within a healing type of hypnosis and they refuse to share who they are, it's just not safe. It's not safe most of the time for themselves and then for whoever might be listening, as unfortunately there are ears, right, through technology everywhere. So it's a form of way to protect the person that is not perhaps quite ready. It's not say everything needs to, in order for things to happen, you can say every single star needs to align for it to happen. So for that person to discover who their higher self is or who their higher aspect within them is, everything has to align with it. It has to be the right time, because our goal is to get you to ensure that you do not get stuck in some of these things that might cause further confusion. And what's the point in that? How's that going to help you? Though there's purpose to everything. With confusion, there could always be clearing after that, right? But so you could understand. Okay. Let me see. I want to make sure I touch everything that they wanted me to address today. We're over an hour, but I'll try to finish this up. Let's see. So, speaking to you all who are healers, I will give you an example. I had this beautiful, beautiful gentleman that came to me that was a hypnosis therapist, and he had been taught through India, years of training of hypnosis, taught also through Theta Healing, taught through California schools of teaching of hypnosis. And he had an aura session with me. During this time, he did not feel comfortable about a 8-year time frame to really have anyone do a hypnosis session on him. So when we put him in, he is extremely blocked. And during this time frame, he was doing hypnosis sessions on others. And you know how we teach is that for us to be at our highest. So if we have certain type of negative energies within us, we have to be very careful, because we can transfer those over to our clients. So that's why we developed the aura, where we are using sacred alchemy for ourselves and the client to ensure that they are protected. So with that, we discovered, when we found in there 5 reptilian consciousness, which is the most I found so far in a client. 5 of them, and then portals and these like weird implant in his spine, at the bottom of base of his spine, that had like tentacles right at the bottom, so it was stopping like his energy flow, his kundalini. And when I was speaking to him, and we also did have a follow-up together where we spoke after a couple weeks after his session, and we were talking about it and how all these healers have been taught, but what he explained is, you've been taught to, shielding, oh no, don't do that, that's going to attract worse things, that's fear, that's fear-based. Yeah, we don't talk about that. But we discover every day and every time is that, because we are again going with it fear and not going into awareness of it, we are allowing, like the entities, the energies that we speak about, it's like if you don't have these force fields of your source, love, light, and working with your higher self, guides, angels, soul families surrounding them, then it's like you're wide open. So then they could just kind of enter your force field. And then they'll see a person with a force field around them. They're like, they know they can't go through it because the frequency of that force field is too high for that density of that entity to come forth into. They will be transmuted. They can maybe influence you outside the auric field, the force fields, but they can't penetrate it naturally. So we discovered that the reptilian consciousness, he got the majority of them through hypnosis. So when you're learning to heal and to grow, and you're learning these different healing modalities, try to go with the information that's given to you, where first you're working with force fields. First and foremost, you're setting intents of strong force fields before you even dabble into the theta brainwave. And it's kind of similar to how we spoke about in the last live channel of April, where we talk about ayahuasca. So it's like that, right? You're going into a brainwave where you are becoming more open energetically. So if you don't set up these force fields, then you're wide open for the clients who are carrying the reptilian consciousness, for if you're not healing them properly, for them to transfer into you, for you to give the client some of what you have. So that is why we teach sacredly, importantly, sacred alchemy. Yes, so I wanted to share that with you. Follow your hearts to whoever works energy work on you. And always, always set an intent, no matter who you're working with, to surround with strong force fields of love, light. Okay. And let me see, we are done. We are about 10 minutes over. Let me see if there's one more question that we would like to answer here. Good Vibe says, Aurora, you were in my dream last night and looking over me. And then for the first time, I dreamt in color. Briefly, it was beautiful. Oh, thank you. I love to hear dreams overall. And I love to hear them too when I come and visit you. Yeah, I do hear them quite often. Let's see if there's any other question. Steve says, this reminds me of the Indiana Jones movie with all the tech crystal being merging into one. It's like reuniting with all ourselves. Yeah. Yes. Interesting enough, I was watching the Indiana Jones recently too. The newer one where like Shia Buff is in there. If I said his name right. Yes. Mm-hmm. Rochelle says the higher self did not give her name. Yeah, because I couldn't pronounce it. That's so true. A lot of times you can't. Like it's not native. The higher self is definitely not quite native to the earth, and it will be hard for that language of its frequency. Your higher selves names, most of the alien races out there don't have a name because they're more of a frequency. They're a registration of a frequency. Your name is a registration of a frequency. How could you even pronounce it? You cannot. Yeah. Okay. And then someone said Mother Mary. She had a dream. She woke up. Shristi. conversation, and it was she felt it was Mother Mary saying about the children. Yes, right now we're really focusing on the children. If you notice, the last about month and a half, 2 months, so we were speaking bits and pieces on how to work with the children. We're asking too at the 13th hour at the 1 o'clock 1 a.m. time for you to please send love light to the children. We've added that, please. But yeah, that is all for today. Thank you so much. I've had so much fun with you all. You are so lovely, such a beautiful, lovely group you are. And please subscribe and please share. We're trying to reach, as you know, the 6,000 subscribers. Once we reach the 6,000 subscribers, we're going to give out free readings. And I would love to be able to do that for you. And the more the subscribers, basically the way it works is the more subscribers I get, and since because I do speak from a heart frequency, the more it helps the collective, because now as we share these videos, as we communicate to others about the videos that the raw collective, the benevolent beings are speaking through us, through the hypnosis, through the channelings, then it's helping shift the collective more and more and more. So yes, hoping to grow that soon to the 6,000. Thank you all so much for being here. Again, you can find me at risingphoenixaurora.com. I love you all infinitely. And such beauty, for I honor the you in me and the I in you. Adonai. I love you, I honor you, I thank you, and I respect you. And I'll see you all next time.